At its heart, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is a love story, but not the love story you would hope for, or perhaps you can hope for it. As Banishers, you're charged with ascending or banishing souls from the mortal realm and freeing the living from being haunted by traumas of the past. The story begins with the two main characters, Antea and Red, as you arrive at New Eden in the year 1695, at the request of a friend. A curse has plagued the town, and it's up to our two main characters to take on this impossible task. It isn't long before the story ramps up and you find yourself traveling across the wilderness, running into the forlorn citizens who've fled the town to survive in any way they can. With each area in the world, you'll find yourself investigating hauntings and strange behavior that led you to your namesake, banishing ghosts. Not every situation is black and white, however. Many of the people who are haunted have done something wrong, and it's up to Red and Antea to judge for themselves if a ghost should be ascended, banished, or worse. This is where the game hooked me in. I love the depth and discovery that comes with each investigation. The moral gray area put upon Red and Antea with each discovery will ultimately decide how the game ends for each player. Don't Nod have done a great job of making sure that each choice you make is clear and works towards the desired goal and why you're making it. There are points in the game where I wish I was able to have my cake and eat it too, though. Not all of the faults could be laid upon the ghost haunting the person because, at their core, the person being haunted deserved punishment as well. This is where you'll have to decide what type of person you are and what your role in their story will play. Beyond the conversations and discoveries you make while moving from zone to zone, you'll come in contact with the spirits trapped or aggravated by the curse that has befallen New Eden. Combat starts here, and while I enjoyed the enemy of variety, I did not like the targeting system, and it didn't feel like it was benefiting me in any major way. More often than not, I would forgo the lock-on system altogether, as many of the ranged attacks have strong aim assist to begin with, and didn't cause me to get stuck on just one target with a myriad of ghosts behind me ready to attack. There's a diverse range of combat skills, and the game tries to encourage you to swap between Antea in her spectral form and Red in his corporeal form. Antea herself can damage possessed creatures more effectively, for example, whereas Red has his strengths against the incorporeal. Not to say that you can't use one for both, but the talents and items always push you to be aware of what type of enemy you're attacking during encounters. Many of these enemies are random encounters or are in set places where you can use rituals to draw out these spirits and banish them, earning you experience as well as necessary mats to be able to upgrade your gear as you move throughout the game. Many of these spots are one-offs, but some would be repeatable within the world and increase in difficulty with each successive summoning. Leveling in Banishers will be something of a sore spot for those looking to push through the game without completing all of the investigations. Additionally, the talent tree and gear may leave you scratching your head as you try to recall all the different trade-offs you've taken throughout the game. A personal pet peeve of mine is having gear or talents that cause you to sacrifice something to take a talent or new piece of gear, which should feel rewarding. So kudos to you pros out there who've managed to see the Matrix code and come up with inspiring builds. While the world is beautiful and rich with detail, I noticed just how often you're moving through crevices or dropping ropes down to create shortcuts for future traversal. You move in a large linear fashion through the world, with only a couple times where I found myself having to pick one direction or another. The game does a good job of identifying points of interest as you uncover them. It's a good thing too, because you'll find many parts of the world are gated by abilities, and without a good legend and mapping system, you'd be hard-pressed to remember where to go once you've acquired the necessary power to open up that previously locked area. I did love the environments, and I think it speaks to Don't Nod's experience with narrative storytelling that they were able to invoke such strong emotions with environmental design alone. It's a beautiful world, even if it's a cursed one, and I felt myself wanting to ride the town of said curse, if only to get some nice screenshots once things were back to normal. Be warned, as many games in this style, you will find yourself taking the off-beaten path to search for hidden chests or things to collect, as I find upgrading your gear is necessary and tough if you're not sure where you need to find these materials to be able to find them up and use them in the future. A lot of the interactions that you'll have with many of the town folk can come off cold. As Puritans, they tend to look down on Banishers for the type of job that they take. And you'll find yourself discovering a lot about these characters as you move throughout the world and realize that while many of them have had issues in the past, a lot of them are just trying to survive. You'll find a healthy mix of folks who practice demonology as well as witchcraft and are staunch believers in the power of God. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about the technical issues I ran into while playing through this. At the time of this review, I played before and after the game's launch, and so far, one of the things this game struggles with is consistent frame rate towards the end of the game. Initially, I expected this would have a smooth gameplay experience given how many corridors I had to squeeze through between zones. However, the later and later I got into the game, the more and more unstable it became when loading in graphics. Additionally, there always seems to be a significant pause when accessing menus. This could also cause the game to crash to the dashboard if I tried to access it too soon after a load-in. One can only hope that with time, Dontnod will be able to roll out patches to help improve the experience for such a wonderful trek into New Eden.